It was 2005, early morning. Someone knocking on my door with an urgency. I opened it, a police officer. Then out of the corner of my eye, two unmarked cars pulled up fast. Men in suits, FBI badges, and in that single moment, every secret I had kept years hiding was about to be exposed to the world. I had nobody to blame but myself. That is where pornography took me. And if you think it can't take you there too, stay with me. Because what I'm about to say, you need to hear it. For men chasing purpose over comfort, this is the Intentional Guy podcast. Welcome to the Intentional Guy podcast. I'm Michael Chestnut. I wrote a book called Expose, and that title means exactly what it sounds like. I expose myself, every dark corner, every shameful choice, every secret that nearly destroyed my life, my family, my freedom. I didn't come here today to make you feel comfortable. I didn't come here today to be your friend. I came here because somebody has to have the guts to stand in front of men and tell them the truth that nobody else will say out loud. We are in the middle of a generational curse, and we build it ourselves with our own hands, with the devices that is sitting in your pocket right now. That phone, it is a 24-hour pornography arcade, and most of you are carrying it into your home, into your bedroom, into your marriages every single day. So let's get into it. Fact one, the epidemic is already inside your home. Here are the numbers. Let's look at them. Pornography is a $97 billion global industry, bigger than Netflix, bigger than the NFL. 70% of men who regularly watch pornography are addicted to it. Not curious, not occasional, addicted. The average age a boy first sees pornography is 13 years old. Some as young as 5. Over 40 million Americans regularly visit pornography websites. Every second, nearly 30,000 people are watching pornography online. Let me stop right there and ask you something. If 70% of men watching pornography are addicted, is that you? I'm not asking you to raise your hand. I'm asking you to look yourself in the mirror right now. Is that you? Because I was that man. I told myself I had it under control. I told myself it wasn't hurting anyone. I told myself I could stop whenever I wanted. I was wrong. Dead wrong. And the FBI at my door proved it. Fact two, AI has now removed every last barrier. It used to be that pornography required a search, an effort. You had to go find it. That is over. Today, with artificial intelligence, a man can generate custom, personalized sexual imagery in seconds. Whatever his mind has twisted itself into wanting, He can now create it instantly, privately, with zero human involvement. AI has put a pornography production studio in the palm of every man's hands. No limits, no accountability, no record. And men who thought they were just watching are now creating. And what they're creating is getting darker, more extreme, and more detached from reality and from their wives, their families, and their own humanity. This is not your grandfather's temptation. This is a supernatural level assault on the male mind. And most men are walking into it completely unarmed. Fact 3, pornography does not satisfy, it escalates. Let me tell you something they won't tell you on the website. Pornography is biologically engineered to never be enough. Every time you watch it, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical as cocaine. And just like a drug, over time, the same amount stops working. You need more. You need different. You need worse. That is why pornography doesn't stay pornography. It becomes an affair. How many of you right now are one app away from a hookup? How many of you have already crossed that line? Because here's the truth. Those apps exist because pornography created the appetite, and now the app are feeding it. We live in a society now of hookups, self pleasures, and destroyed lives. And the phone in your pocket made it easier than ordering a pizza. Men, I need to shift gears because this stopped being just about you a long time ago. Whether you are a father, an uncle, a coach, a mentor, or a neighbor, there are young people in your world who are watching how you live and what you model in private always shows up in public. Let me speak to the fathers directly for a moment. And if that's not you, don't check out because your turn is coming. If you are a father, do you honestly believe your children don't know? Do you think a teenager with a smartphone hasn't stumbled onto the same thing you've been hiding? Do you think your son won't do exactly what you do? Because you are the standard of what a man looks like to him. Do you think your daughter isn't quietly forming an image in her mind of what she should accept from a husband based entirely on what she has watched you be? How you treat your wife is how your son will treat his future wife. That is not a theory. That is a generational pattern playing out in homes across the country right now. Your daughter will seek out and marry a man who feels familiar. And if what is familiar to her is a man who disappears into his phone, who is emotionally absent, who carries secret, she will call that love because that is what she learned love looks like. We are not just making bad choices for ourselves. We are writing the instruction manual for the next generation. And to every man listening who is not a father, you are still leaving a legacy. The younger men watching you at work, at church, in your neighborhood, they are reading you. They are deciding what is normal based on what they see men do. Your life is a sermon, whether you are preaching or not. This is the heaviest truth I can drop on you today. You are shaping the next generation right now, in secret, in the dark, on that phone. We have more young men today who are impotent because of pornography and chronic masturbation than any previous generation. Men in their 20s, physically, mentally, medically unable to be present with a real woman because their brain has been rewired by years of a screen. That is hard to hear, but it is the truth, and we created it. I want to talk directly to the man who is not just watching pornography. He is in an affair, maybe multiple. Maybe it's been going on for months, maybe years. I know who you are because I was you. And I need to tell you something I could not say for a long time. When my secret double life was exposed, I cannot find words adequate enough to describe the hopelessness I felt in that moment. I had carried the secret so long that I had convinced myself I was managing it. I was not managing anything. I was drowning and didn't know it until the water was over my head. What followed was the most devastating season of my life. I lost everything: my reputation, my relationships, my sense of who I was. And there were days, I want you to hear me say this. There were days I lost the will to live. The shame and the guilt that crashed down on me was unlike anything I had ever known. I did not know that kind of darkness existed until I was standing in the middle of it. But I am standing here today, and the only reason I am is because over time, through honesty, through accountability, through the grace of a God who never stopped running towards me, He restored me, not instantly, not painlessly, but fully, genuinely, in ways I did not deserve and could not have imagined on my own. The turning point was not a program or a method. The turning point was the moment I was finally honest. The moment I stopped protecting my secret and started telling the truth. That is when everything began to change. Let me tell you what I couldn't find when I was in the middle of my sin. I couldn't find a man I trusted enough to say, "Help me." The courage to reach out, to admit what I was doing, to let someone into the most embarrassing part of my life. I didn't have it. And that silence cost me everything. I am asking you today to learn from my example. It is not too late to stop the affair. It is not too late to delete the apps. It's not too late to walk back into your home and fight for your marriage. But you cannot do it alone. And you cannot do it in secret. Secret feeds this thing. Darkness is where this sin lives. Light is what kills it. Find one man, one, and tell him the truth. Not the cleaned up version, the real truth. Trust him with the worst of you. That is how restoration begins. That is how I found my way back. Man, I'm going to leave you with one challenge, just one, but I need you to take it with everything you have. Find one man this week and tell him the truth. Not the highlight reel, not the cleaned up version, not the I've been struggling a little lately version, the real truth, the full truth, the truth you have never said out loud to another human being. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about what he will say. You're thinking about the look on his face. You're thinking about what he will think of you afterwards. You are thinking about every reason why you cannot do this. I thought all of those things too. And my silence is what let this thing grow from a secret into catastrophe. What I never had when I was in the middle of my sin was one man I trusted enough to say, help me. I am drowning and I cannot find my way back. That one conversation could have changed everything for me. Years of destruction, a shattered family, FBI agents at my front door, all of it might have stopped by one honest conversation with one trusted man. So let me be specific about who this man needs to be. Not your buddy who is going to laugh it off, not someone who has the same problem you do and will just commiserate with you. You need someone who will love you enough to tell you the truth. A pastor, a counselor, a mentor who has walked with God longer than you have, a man of integrity who will not let you off the hook. And here's what you say when you sit down with him. I need to tell you something I have never told anyone, and I need you to help me. That's it. Start there. You do not need a script. You do not need to have it all figured out. You just need to open your mouth and let the secret out. Because secrets are the oxygen this sin breathes. The moment you expose it to light, its power over you begins to die. If you are in an affair right now, tell him. If you are addicted to pornography, tell him. If you have been living a double life for years and you are exhausted from carrying it, tell him. This is not weakness. This is the bravest thing a man can do. It takes more courage to say, I need help, than it ever takes to keep pretending everything's fine. I will tell you this from the other side of it. Restoration is real. I am living proof. The man who could barely lift his head in shame, that man found his way back, not because I was strong enough, but because I finally stopped trying to do it alone. You are not too far gone. Your marriage is not too far gone. Your legacy is not too far gone. But today, you have to make a choice. Stop carrying this alone. Find your man, tell the truth, and begin. This is the worst generational curse we have ever built. Not because it's louder than the ones before it, but because it's silent. It lives in your pocket. It breathes in your bedroom. It hides behind a screen at 2 a.m. while people who love you are asleep. And it steals the next generation, one secret at a time. No pit is too deep. No man is too far gone. But somebody has to go first. Be that man.